Hi, it's Teresa with Crafty with Teresa. Thank you so much for joining me today. Well, hopefully I'm ready to go. If you don't already know, I'm working on a one-sheet wonder for 4 cards using 2 6x6 pieces of paper, and I feel like I'm ready to go, so let's see. I'm gonna go ahead and get started again. So I'm going to try to map this out for you real quick. Basically what you're going to have is 2 6x6 pieces of paper. And this particular piece of paper that we're using is Country Woods, and all that information will be in the PDF file that I'm working on. And then your second piece is here. So here's your 2 pieces of 6x6 paper. And the first cut you're going to do is at 1 inch. And then your second cut is going to be here at the bottom, and it's going to be 5 inches across here. So you're going to cut 1 inch off here. Then your third cut will be at 3 3/4. So this will be your third cut. You'll do the exact same cuts for each side. Now the one difference is we're going to take this piece right here that's the 3 3/4, and we're going to cut a circle. Whatever circle you have in your supply will work fine for this. Again, this is the same thing, and you'll cut it in this piece and in this piece. So we'll just go ahead and make these changes here. And then the circle. And the trick will be here is this piece right here will go on the inside of this piece, and this piece right here will go on the inside of this piece. And we'll show that to you in just a second. But the big thing is I wanted you to see the cuts. Very simple. So I tried to map this out a little bit better. I took just a second to try to look through this and make it a little bit easier for you. So when I mentioned this side would go here, I kind of drew some arrows for you. So this circle will go over here. This circle will go over here. Now that's card 1, that's card 2. Card 3 and 4 you can do however you'd like to do that. But what I did is I took this section here, which is 1 1/4 by 3 3/4, and this piece right here, which I know it's hard to see here, but this piece and this piece to make that design. I'll show you all this in a second. And then number 4, I did this piece and this piece, which is variations. I should say this. Variations of this. And then on the inside of the card, I did variations of this also. All of that information, these 3 of these cards I have shown you already in different videos. So I'll probably speed through a little bit of that, but just so you know, there are places for you to see more detailed processes here. And then the piece that I wanted to show you is trying to be frugal with the paper and trying to be frugal with the actual cardstock. For the Night of Navy, you'll need 4 by 5 1/4 bases, okay? And then on Very Vanilla, here's what I did to kind of save paper and make this work really well for this design, is I did 3 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, which is basically I took the 8 1/2 by 11 and I cut it at 5 1/2 and then scored it at 4 1/4. Again, I'll show you this. But that took care of 3 pieces of the Very Vanilla. 3 of them will be for the card bases that are your standard card bases, which is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. But that fourth one will be for the card that we made a few days ago, which is the Fun Fold card. And that one will be 3 by 8 1/4, and then we'll do some scoring of that. And then those scraps, all those scraps will be used for the sentiments that are going to be used in these card designs. So you'll come up with 4 card designs with this 6x6 paper, and have very little leftovers. Now I know I went through that pretty quick, but I do have the actual 6x6 papers and the cuts here for you. I'll walk through that pretty quick, and then I'll play some music because we've already gone over the cuts. And here's the diagram for you also. Now, the first cuts on Night of Navy, you need 4 pieces of cardstock to be cut at 4 by 5 1/4. So your first cut will be on the 8 1/2 inch side. You'll cut a 1/2 inch off of that side. Then you'll rotate it and you'll cut a 1/2 inch off of that side. So that gives you an 8 by 10 1/2 inch piece of cardstock. Then you'll cut it at 4 inches on the 8 inch side. You'll cut it at 4 inches. Then you'll stack them, rotate it, and cut it at 5 1/4. Now let's take a look at the Very Vanilla. I've already cut these down for you. These are the card bases, and all the card bases will be 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, that standard A2 size. So what you want to do is you want to make your first cut at 5 1/2, and you'll do that on the 11 inch side. Now here what I'm showing you is I've got one already cut, and all I'm doing is I'm creasing it at the 4 1/4 mark, and I've showed these before many times in videos, so you're basically making your card bases. So here are the pieces for card number 1. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on card number 1 and card number 2 because I did do that in that other video, but I will show you that this is what we're looking at. Here's your 4 by 5 1/4. You're going to put this down first. Doing this upside down, so hopefully it looks okay. We're going to do this next, and I almost didn't do that. We're going to line this up first. Now you can pop up any of this. My plan is I'm sending it in a card kit. I'm also sending the individual cards, and you'll see I have tons of these cards right now, and I'll show those to you here in sneak peeks. So you can pop this up, you can leave a little blue, which you'll see I've done that a few of those, or you can slide this under, match it up like that, and it's ready to go. And then you'll put this on here. Can't see if that's straight. Let me see if that's straight real quick. And then you'll grab, I've already used a lot of these, but these are the adhesives. They're called swirl dots, and I will double check to make sure those are available for you, but I've already used a lot of these, and you'll put one of these here. So here's or here, or you can use all three. I have cut these in 3 for my card kits to send to my club. Peek of card number 1, where I've actually allowed just a little bit of that blue and this is popped up just a little bit. We'll do this, and we'll add I did use a different card base here because I've done Here's card number 2. I've already done the base for you. It's the exact same process. You just put that together like that. Then you'll add that to your card base. Next, you'll add your sentiment, this one just for you. And what I did is I just set it off center a little bit. And then you'll take your adhesives and you'll place them however you want to place them. And there's a different version of card number 2. Here's the version I did previously. Ready to go. Previously, put the dots on here. This has got a little bit of the Very Vanilla showing. Now, I did want to take a few more minutes on card number 3 because I wanted to show you a few things. One is I've made several variations of it based on the supplies that I had on hand. Let me show you the sneak peek here. So the first one I did, remember when I was working on the vertical cards? So the first one I did was this one, and I had some leftover cuts because some of my cardstocks I had already cut out some of these circles, so I had some left over. I did show you in a recent video how to do this scraping technique, so I'll link that here in this video. As a matter of fact, it'll be card number 4 also. And then I just used the design that I saw on page 22 of the annual catalog, and I kind of just did a variation of it, and then I will show you here in just a few minutes how I did the leaves on this, and of course these are just the embellishments. That's the first one. The other thing I did, again using that swiping technique, I added this to the inside of the card. So here's another version of card number 3. This is that 1 1/4 by 3 3/4. This is that 1 by 3 3/4. Actually, I'm sorry, this is the 1 by 5. This is the 1 1/4 by 3 3/4. And then I had a scrap piece left over from the different cuts from the different versions of this, so I just used that. And then what I really want to show you here is I stepped this one up just a little bit, and I'm not sure if you can see it really well, but I'll show you a quick view of what I did here. I actually did some Versamark on the inside of this card, so I stepped this one up quite a bit. I used some twine, and I actually took this, I'll show you that in a second, and I took the Night of Navy, and if you can see it here, I actually did some Versamark and used some of the pieces of Art and Texture, and I'll be using this quite a bit because I do like to do a lot of vintage cards, and I'll be using it also in my scrapbooking. But what I did is I took this one, and I took this one and this one, and I did some variations of it, and I'll show you pieces of that here in just a second inside here. And then I'll also show you this, but let me tell you where that came from. In the Unbounded Love, there are several different leaves, and one of these did not work out well. It's just a little bit different than what I was used to on the die cuts. So I just cut these off, and I made them, colored them with Mossy Meadow, and used them in this design. So I'll show you that here real quick, and I'll be right back. Now my last card, you saw this in my last video. I've done a few different versions of this. I showed you the swiping technique in the last version. This is a fun fold. And again, this is already ready for you. It's in my last version. And I took pieces that were left over from the cuts, and I made this work for the inside of this card and made it a fun fold note card to send to my friends. Now I know that was a little bit jumping around a little bit, but I wanted to tell you the reason why I wanted to make sure that I got this out to you is because I'm showing you that it doesn't matter how you cut it, whatever works best for you. I've cut this in two different ways, and you can see the different designs that I made with them. So it was perfect. I was able to get, I believe I have 12 cards now done with this, and I'm very, very happy with the cards, and several of these are ready to go for my kits for my monthly club. I would love it if you have not already subscribed and you enjoyed this video, if you would subscribe and hit the notification button so you can see the new videos as they come in. And if you have comments, I would love to hear them because it does help me with my planning. I love to be able to show you what works for you. I hope you're seeing those in my videos today. I am truly enjoying showing you these different versions. Loving the Stampin' Up! Products. They're working very well for me and my cards, and I am getting ready to start my Christmas cards. I normally start them in July, but this year I'm having to start them in August, and I'm super excited to be able to show you my Christmas cards coming out soon. You'll see some with poinsettias, you'll see some with reindeer, and you'll also see some with cardinals. All of those are coming soon. Again, I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you for joining me, and until next time, have a great day.